Hello friends, today I have so many beautiful DIYs I want to share with you, and I am involved in a collab with a couple of fantastic DIYers. You're not going to want to miss their videos as well. I'm going to give you a sneak preview to two of the cute rustic angels that I made. That's just a sneak preview. The DIYs get better. Let's get crafting. When I found out the theme to this collab was Glory to the Newborn King, I knew that I had to use this decoupage paper. I got this decoupage paper at decoupagecentral.com, and she has the most beautiful papers, high quality papers you've ever seen. Now, I just took a paintbrush and some water and went around the edges and ripped it so it would have a torn edge, and this paper tears beautifully. It is my first time using any of the papers that I've purchased from her, and I've purchased quite a few pieces from Jonelle, but this is my first time actually using any, and I absolutely love it. It is superb quality. Now, I'm not getting a kickback from any of this, I'm just saying. Now, I'm going to paint the back of this white because I'm not painting the piece of wood that I'm going to use. So I don't want any of the wood to show through. I want it to be a nice, solid piece. So I'm just going to paint the back of it with some white paint. And I'm going to let it completely dry. Now, I'm going to use this big, thick, chunky piece of wood that I got out of the dumpster dive, and I'm going to link that video in the description box below in case you haven't seen it. And I'm just going to use some Mod Podge on the back of this. I'm going to start just on this little edge. Now, if you have watched any of my videos, you know I like to do the iron-on method. But just for grins and giggles, I decided I was going to try to use Mod Podge the way most people use Mod Podge. Normal people use Mod Podge. Well, I'm not normal. But anyway, I tried it and it worked, but this is not my favorite method. This is great paper. I did get very, very minimal. I didn't really get wrinkling, but there's still just that, I don't know. I just love the flawless results you get with the iron-on method. But this did work. I'm going to tell you, it did work beautifully. And I did just like my friend Myra over at Farm Fresh Designs 59 does, and my friend Sammy over at Unicorn Dust Designs does, and all the other people that I watch, and just work little bits at a time and press it down. And this paper is such high quality that it works great. But this is just a whole lot more work than the iron-on method and such beautiful results with the iron-on method. I'm going to make this a two-sided DIY. And so the other side, I use the iron-on method, and it works beautifully. I did a very, very thin coat of the Mod Podge on top because I did not want any wrinkling or bubbling. So I went ahead and dried it with my heat gun because I wanted to get started on the back side as quickly as possible. So I flipped it over, and now I'm going to trace out where my paper is going to lay. So do I say lay or lie? I never get those verbs correct when I say them. And I'm going to just put, I squirted out a generous amount. I squirted out a little too much, and I had to wipe some of it off. But I was thinking I was going to need it to go down into all those little crevices of the wood grain, and I did, but I went ahead and got it all down in there. Now, once that is completely dry, you can see it has a little bit of a shine to it. It's completely dry. I let it air dry. I'm going to place my decoupage paper that I painted the back of it white, and I'm going to use my little heat press. You could use a household iron with no steam on the hottest setting, and just press over it for a few seconds in each spot. It does not take a long time. This is sped up a little bit, but it does not take a long time to do this method. And it is beautiful. It is flawless, and I don't even feel like it needs a coat of Mod Podge on top because I feel like that glue soaks through. But since I did have the paint on the back side of this, I sprayed it with a sealer. a spray sealer. Now, I ripped up some of the canvas drop cloth that I use all the time. If you've been around, you know how much I love that. And I'm just going to glue the strips around the edge because I wanted a little bit more rustic detail on this. And I did all the way around the edge, making sure that on the bottom I got that really flat so that it would sit nicely. This chunk of wood is super heavy. I will not be selling this in my Whatnot show because it would probably cost $30 to ship this thing. This is a big, thick chunk of, I'm pretty sure it's solid oak, but it is heavy. It's going to be beautiful to sit on my piano at Christmas to portray the true meaning of Christmas. Now, I found this piece of scrapbook paper, and then I've got Mod Podge on this little piece of wood, but the scrapbook paper was perfect for this DIY and this collab. Glory to the newborn king. I just cut that little piece out, and I'm just going to decoupage it right onto this little piece of wood, and then I'm going to add the little piece of wood to my piece. I took a little bit of dark wax and just put it around the edges of that so that it would pop off of here. But the colors were perfect. The words were perfect. Everything. And then I took some strings that I ripped off of the canvas drop cloth, and I just made a teeny tiny little bow to go up in the corner of my little square piece of wood because, you know, everything needs a little bow on it. And we're just going to glue that up there. And I think this is just perfect. You have to let me know how you think it turned out. And this one is complete. I told you I was in a collab with some fantastic DIYers, so I'm going to tell you about them. Favi with Arrows DIY is heading this up, and Wendy at White Sparrow Living Luke 12:6 is also participating with us, and I am super excited to be participating with these ladies, so be sure to check out their channels. Now, I have a bunch of these thread spools, and I have created with them before. We're going to make some angels. I've made Christmas trees out of them before, but today we're going to make some angels. And I'm going to just take some of this beautiful crocheted lace, and I'm going to put it around the top and the bottom for a little neck collar and a little bottom skirt, just to cover up this plastic spool. Now, I'm pinching it a little bit in the glue to gather it so that it will lay pretty on there so it won't be all stretched out. And I'm just putting the glue down and then taking my tweezers and kind of gathering it and pinching it in there so that it will be a little bit gathered. I mean, if you're very industrious, you could run a piece of string through there and gather it up prior to this, but this was just easy for me. And then I'm going to do the same thing along the bottom, but I'm going to put it actually on the thread. So you can see right here, I'm going to put it on the thread because then it will hang just the right length when the angel is sitting up. Okay, so there we go, all the way around, and just kind of pinch it and scooch it and pinch it and scooch it till it's a little bit gathered like a little skirt at the bottom. And then I think, oh, I'm going to do this. I'm going to put these little wood discs. I can't even remember to tell you where I got these. Maybe at Hobby Lobby in the wood pile. Okay, and then I'm going to take this little round knob. It's just a wooden knob, and I'm going to put hot glue around the outside and wood glue on the inside, and I'm going to just smash her little head right on there. That didn't sound very nice to be talking about an angel like that. Now did it? I have this white tool, and I'm going to gather it up in the center. I cut it the length I thought it would be nice to make wings on the back. And then I'm going to end up trimming it up in the end. But I'm going to pinch it together, gather it up in the middle, and I'm going to tie a piece of white thread around the center. I'm going to just kind of get it positioned like I want it. I'm going to tie it in the center, tie a knot, and then I'm going to glue it to her back as if it were her wings. I'm going to put the glue on, and then I'm going to just lay her down on there. I'm going to find the front, what I want to be the front. I'm going to lay her down on there, and these are going to be her wings. And then I go back in later, and I trim them up to the right length that I want them to be. Isn't she adorable? I have this gold cord. I'm pretty sure I got this at Hobby Lobby. And I'm just going to measure it out and trim it up. And then to get it to stick together, I'm just going to put a little squirt of hot glue on my silicone mat. You could do this on some wax paper, parchment paper, or something that it won't stick to. And I'm going to put that in there until it sets up. You know, hot glue is going to set up pretty fast. And then I'm going to just peel it off. And I'm going to glue this to the back of her head to make her the most precious little halo. It's going to stick on there nicely. Then I had some little, what is this? Felt ribbon. Is this felt ribbon? It's felt ribbon. And it's so pretty. It's velvet ribbon. It's not felt. I'm sorry. It's velvet ribbon. And I'm just going to give her a little velvet ribbon right under her neck, and she's done. We're going to reveal these two angels together at the same time. So now I have another one. This one's going to be more neutral and a little more rustic. I'm going to use some canvas drop cloth to make her wings. The same process for both angels. This time I'm going to use some jute twine around the collar of it to make this one a little bit more rustic. Just, you know, glue and twine, glue and twine. Same thing around the bottom. We're just going to put a little glue, a little twine, wrap it around all the way around till all of that white plastic is covered up. The same process with the two little wooden discs. We're just going to glue them in so that the little knob will have something to sit on. We're going to glue our little knob down with some Titebond Quick and Thick glue and some hot glue. So the hot glue is going to give us a quick hold. The Titebond will give us a permanent hold. Hold her little head down nice and tight, gently but tightly. Did that sound nicer? We have to be nice to our little angel. Okay, get everything all glued down and get that twine piece all glued down. And then we will make her a little bow. What are we doing? What are we doing, Kendra? Oh, yes, we're going to make her a little bow around her neck. So we're going to put this little string around, and I don't know if I thought I was going to have enough to tie a bow there or not, but I did not. So I made a little shoestring bow and made her a little bow right around her neck. And then all my angels are hers. They could be hymns, I guess, but today these are all hers. And then we're going to put her little wings on, and look how adorable. I grabbed a piece of scrap wood that was a piece of old fencing, and I went over to my scroll saw. Well, first I drew on there this little angel template, and I went over to my scroll saw and cut this little angel out. I actually cut two of them out, and I intend to cut out some and make kits and sell on my whatnot in case someone wants to make these type of angels for themselves. And this was a super, super simple thing to cut out. This was sped up, but it did not take me long. And look, I have a little vacuum under there that sucks up that sawdust. How cool is that? I sanded them down a little bit. Oh, I made those wings out of some, I didn't show you that. I made them out of some of that scrap flooring that I've been using in lots of DIYs. And I'm just going to take some white linen by DIY and a chippy brush, and I'm just going to do what you see me doing here. It's kind of a heavy dry brush, but dry brush nonetheless. And I get all my DIY paints, my salt wash, my IOD products from Sammy over at www.unicorndustdesigns.com. And you can find her link to her website in the description box below. If you forget, you can just go down there and click on her link and find all kinds of wonderful things on her website. I'm going to take my little finger sander and I'm just going to rough scuff everything so that it doesn't look freshly painted. It kind of looks like an old whitewashed fence. I love this. And look how cute these little wings look on here. I found something, I think my sister sent me a picture of some of these little angels that look like this, and I was like, oh, I can recreate these. So I don't know who to give credit to because she just took a screenshot of something and sent it to me. Okay, so I'm going to just use a little wood glue, not wood glue, quick Titebond Quick and Thick, and some hot glue to glue those down. And then if that weren't enough, I'm going to use some staples. I have some extra long staples in this stapler, and I'm just going to staple that because that wood is a little bit thin and the staples will go through. Now I'm going to use this wired jute cord to make some little halos for our little wooden rustic angels. And I'm just going to twist it around and make them the size that I want them to fit. And then I'm going to staple them to the back of the angel heads and add a little bit of hot glue to it to make sure that they're nice and secure. And then I took some of the canvas drop cloth and tore a strip and made a little bow for her neck. And then I decided maybe I wanted the chiffon ribbon because you know how much I love it. But instead I chose the drop cloth. Okay, I had these little do-it-yourself decor pieces with these brass rings and that little square wooden piece in my stash. And I'm going to take the rings out and spray them with this brown spray paint. And then I'm going to come in and I'm going to take some layered chocolate by DIY and I'm going to sponge it all over them, both sides and both rings. And then I'm going to take some orange, I believe I used Summer Crush, maybe. One of the oranges from DIY, anyway, whatever orange you want to use. And I just dabbed it here and there, and I went back and forth with the layered chocolate and the Summer Crush until I made it look like a rusted piece of wire. And I'm going to put some dark wax on this little base piece. This is more like, almost like a bamboo or teak wood or something, so I just stained it with that wax. Now, I have 3 blocks of wood. I didn't get a lot of this on video really good, so I'm going to try to explain it as I go. And I had a small one and then 2 larger ones. And we're going to make a little nativity. And so the little white one is going to be our baby Jesus, and this is going to be Mary. And then I have a little bit longer one that I painted a dark brown, the layered chocolate. This is Skeleton Key, all DIY paints. And then I give them all a really good coat of paint, and then I used my little finger sander and sanded the edges a little bit and then wiped them clean. Now, it was not really that necessary to spend a lot of time on these because I end up covering them up mostly. I drilled holes in the top of them so that we could do my favorite way to adhere things. I'm going to use some Titebond Quick and Thick. These knobs make perfect heads like they did with the angels, but now we're going to use our little skewer trick to make these stay on good. I'm going to use my little paintbrush to get rid of that excess glue that oozed out. Just wipe it off, and it's going to dry clear, so I don't have to worry about if a little bit of it is on there. Now, baby Jesus is going to be wrapped in his swaddling clothes, so I just used hot glue to attach his little head. And then I have some little muslin cloth from my stash that I am going to just wrap around him. I'm just going to swaddle him up, and I just, glue and fold and glue and fold until I get him all swaddled up, all nice and warm. And yeah, I guess I thought you needed to see all the swaddling. I just am so glad that Favi asked me to be a part of this collab because I love doing Christ-centered DIYs because this is the reason for the season. I did not get on video. I didn't record that I wrapped some burlap around Joseph and a piece of drop cloth around Mary, and then I glued them together. I glued all three pieces together, and now I'm tying a piece of jute twine around the three of them to have the little family all together. I'm going to put some glue on the bottom, and then I'm going to set them in the center of our little platform. I'm going to take some Spanish moss and just set it all around the base of it. And then I thought I needed a little color. So I found this greenery in my stash. I tried to use that Christmas garland, and I just couldn't make it look right. And so I really, really liked this little greenery, and I just added a few little sprigs here and there until I got it to look like I wanted it. Then I went to my stash and I found this vase filler, and I thought these little snow-covered berries would look cute. So I just glued a few here and there, not too many. And then I'm going to put these little brass rings in the little holes where you're supposed to put them, and then attach them to the top with some jute twine. I'm just going to wrap it around and around and around until it looks like I want it to look. And this is going to hold it together. And then I had this little Rusty Crusty star. Had gotten these at Goodwill in a big package, and I'm just going to attach two of them to the top. I'm going to use some of the super glue from Dollar Tree and some hot glue and attach them to the top of this piece. I'm going to use some painter's tape to hold it in place until it dries. I love this nativity set because it represents to me a little bit more of the true place where Christ was born, because he really wasn't born in a stable. It was a stable back then, but I've been to Bethlehem and seen the place where he would have been born, and it was more like a cave. And so this doesn't look like a cave, but it doesn't look like a wooden stable or a wooden barn. So, and I know that's just what we use to represent it, and that's fine. And I've made plenty of nativities and will continue to make plenty of nativities that look like a barn. Nothing wrong with that, but I just thought this was a fun, different take on it. I'm just going to wrap a little bit of jute twine around this star and make a little jute bow for the top, and it will be finished. I think this may be my favorite DIY in this video. Let me know what you guys think. Thank you so much for watching this video. Be sure that you click on the links below in the description box and check out my friends' videos as well. They are going to be packed with beautiful DIYs centered around Christ. Be sure and leave this video a thumbs up. Drop a comment down below and let me know which of these was your favorite DIY. Would you recreate any of them? Are you inspired to make some rustic angels? But most of all, I want you to remember to be still and know that He is God.